Shalom, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Racha, Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all the sincere Akian. This is your brother, giving another video. And what I'm going to be going to in response to the video the elder Malcolm had made concerning two burgers, okay? Kenny Moody 471 on Niger Maccabees, and they've been going back and forth with the elder on TikTok talking about how the so-called red man is not Esau Edom, but is Japhet. And then, okay, since the so-called red man isn't Japhet, who is now Japhet? And they say or they claim that Japhet is the Arabs, okay? No proof, no evidence for that, just speculation, and just that their belief, okay? That Esau Edom isn't that Esau Edom can't be the so-called red man. It has to be the Arabs, okay, because the so-called red man, has been ruling in Europe, okay, the lands where Japhet is supposed to, the lands where Japhet is located. But alas, you forget that this is the one of the emos of Esau Edom. They take a land and then they now name the land after themselves. They conquer a people and now start pretending to be those people. Because if you say that Esau Edom is Japhet, you also have to say that Esau Edom is Mizraim, okay, the Egyptians. You also have to say that Esau Edom, that the Egyptians were Edomites. Sorry, the Egyptians are so-called red people, okay, and those so-called red South Africans that are living in South Africa right now, they are also South Africans and not colonizers or conquerors, anything like that. But we have a preset for that. Okay, let me get that. This is the book of Psalms 49 verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. And this is basically how Esau Edom works. The MO of these devils, they take over a land and they take over, they start, then they take the name of the people of that land and start referring to themselves as that as well. Because in the spirit, Esau Edom is trying to run away from his heritage because he understands that being an Edomite is to be a cost, a working cost on the planet, man. Right? But yeah, these people out here, there are a lot of jigs out here, they just don't want to accept what is in the truth, okay? You have to understand that, that just because these devils are living and ruling over the land, Japhet and their lands, does not make them Japhet, okay? Because even the scriptures can trace, okay, Alexander the Great, Philip of Macedon, these people that ruled in that time, they can trace them all the way back to Esau Edom from the scriptures, right? Because you go into history, you find out that Alexander the Great was an Edomite. Okay, his four generals as well were Edomites. The Romans were Edomites. The Jewish, okay, the 49ers, they are also Edomites as well, right? And even the scriptures tell you that Alexander wasn't a Grecian, he wasn't a Greek, okay. He was they said that he was a Macedonian, but even that as well, further inspection of the precepts, and you realize that he wasn't even a Macedonian, okay? He was an Agagite. That's what he truly is. That is true, you know, bloodline and Agagites going back to Amalek, going back to Esau Edom. So let's go to those precepts. Let's get those precepts. So this is the book of First Maccabees 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So this is telling you that Alexander the Great, okay, wasn't a Greek, and he wasn't Greek, okay. They said that he came from Macedon, they said he came from Kittim. But what you have to remember is that Esau Edom, came into the land of Kittim, ruled over the original inhabitants of Kittim, which were the Japhites, okay, modern day Cyprus, right? Anyway, came into the land of the Macedonians as well, which are also Japhites, and ruled over them. And the proof of that, that Edomites were dwelling in that land, it's right here in the scriptures. Okay, let me go to and yeah. Let me go to the book of Esther. Okay, I will get that in the book of Esther because Haman, okay, the Agagite, he was also a Macedonian. And you can trace Haman's nationality straight back to Esau Edom. So that's showing you right there that, and the kicker is that main point is that he even had his brethren living in Macedon as well, and they were plotting to take over Macedonia and then eventually take over Persia, which of course they eventually succeeded, right? But during the time of Esther, during the time of Mordecai, they failed. But eventually, Esau Edom succeeded in taking over the Persian, taking over the provinces of Persia, including including places like Macedonia and Kittim. Okay, so now let me get that in the book of in these additions to Esther, and to show you that Haman, that is the Agagite, Haman the Edomite, was also a what I'm looking for was also a Macedonian and one of the forefathers, the ancestors of Alexander the Edomites. Okay, so now let me get that. I've forgotten I've forgotten where that preset is at, but it's in the book of additions to Esther. So just type it right here. All right, so I have to just read down, read through it. All right, so this is the book of this is it right here. Additions to Esther 16 verse 10. Additions to Esther 16 verse 10. For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Hammedatha, being indeed a stranger to the Persian blood, and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us, had so far forth obtained the favor that we should toward every nation, as that he was called our father, and was continually honored of all the next person unto the king. But he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life, having by manifold and cunning deceits sought for of us the destruction as well of Mordecaius, Salakia, who saved our life and continually procured our good, as also of blameless Esther, partaker of our kingdom with their whole nation. And if there was a doubt that Haman was an Edomite, this should clear that right. This should clear that right quick. Okay, this should clear any doubt that Haman was an Edomite, because what other nation, what other people on the whole earth would want to take out want to not just take out a Israelite, but take out all the Israelites that he has rule over. What other nation of people has so much hatred for our people that they're looking for they're always considering genocide. Every single time when you're talking about getting rid of a certain group of people, there's always one set of people that want to completely commit genocide over against another set of people. That sounds the third chapter right there, they are looking to wipe us off the face of the earth, that they may remove the name of Israel from the face of the earth. And basically what I'm trying to say is that Haman is an Edomite because he sought after our destruction, or rather the destruction of all the Jews that were in the provinces of Persia, okay, or the Persian Empire. Okay, so continue on. Additions to Esther 16 verse 14. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. But we find that the Jews whom this wicked wretch hath delivered to utter destruction are no evildoers, but live by just laws. Okay, and this is showing you right there that, okay, this is a letter from Darius the Mede, the king of the Medes and the Persians during that time, to all the provinces of Persia, to spare our people, because the Most High gave us deliverance through Esther and Mordecai, and that's why we celebrate the Purim. I believe it's the seventh. No, I'm not even going to say it. Okay, this is not too sure. Let me just say it, but this is evident right here, because Haman, they called him a Macedonian, except he wasn't a Macedonian, he was an Edomite. But because he came from the land of Macedon, he was he was pretending to be a Macedonian. Okay, just like the other Edom, just like his other Edomite brothers that were scattered into Macedon at that time. Let's get that. Let's go into this as well, because in the in that additions to Esther, it doesn't really tell you that he was an Agagite, but in Esther here, because what all the additions to Esther is what the continuation of the book of Esther. Well, of course, Esau Edom took that part out because he knew that Haman, okay, is the link between the Edomites and the Macedonians and the Edomites and Kittim as well, showing you that the Edomites actually moved into those lands and eventually took over those lands and started calling themselves the people of those lands in order to, you know, like I said, run away from their faith, okay, run away from who they truly are, their true nationality as Edomites, okay. So let's get that. Let's get that. So this is the book of Esther 3, verse 1, and it reads, After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. This is the same Haman that we read of in the book of additions to Esther, because if you remember, it said that he was second only to the king. Okay, so let's get this word Agagite in the blue letter. Okay, just a little bit of information going into this. Okay, so this is Agagites. Okay, Agagites. Agagites I will overtop set of human. Let me just go into the root word Agag. So this is the root word Agag. I will overtop, king of Amalek, speared by Saul but slain by Samuel. Okay, so let's go to that. This is going back to the book of Second Samuel. Okay, when let's just go to it. Okay, hold on. Agag. So this is it right here. Alright, so let me start from verse 7. First Samuel 15, verse 7. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against the Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. And this is showing right here who the Agag that Haman, okay, the Edomite, was originated from or descended from. Okay, going back to that same Agag that Saul had spared, okay, and Samuel had killed. He still had children, he still had descendants, and those descendants eventually kept on, you know, bringing forth seed, kept on giving birth, kept on reproducing up until that point in history, okay, with Haman. And let me just get this as well, because I actually went online to just to, without it, just to make sure that there's no shadow of a doubt that Haman, okay, was an Edomite. So this is and I'm going to read from the second paragraph, okay, because the first paragraph is just giving you a brief summary of what happened in the book of Esther. But of course, you already know that. Anyway, Haman was an Agagite and the son of Hammedatha. Haman was likely a descendant of Agag, king of the Amalekites, longtime enemies of the Jewish people. God had told King Saul to destroy the Amalekites centuries earlier, but Saul failed to obey the commands. His disobedience led to the loss of his kingdom, and in Esther's time, the threat of annihilation for all Jews. That's right, because the Most High said that what he will have war with Amalek from generation to generation, and Amalek being the chief tribe of Esau, Edom. Of course, that war extends also to the Edomites as well. You will have war with them from generation to generation. That's why these Edomites, in all their land, in all the lands that they dwell, they can never have peace. Okay, they're always in one conflict or the other. They're always, something is always happening between them. Okay, and need no proof you need no proof, but to look at the current world situation on the planet right now. Different Edomite nations are fighting different wars. Okay, but yeah, this is it right here. You're saying that, oh well, Alexander the Greek can't be an Edomite. He's a Japhite because he was a Grecian. He was king of the Greeks, except he wasn't. He was a Macedonian, except he wasn't. He was an Edomite that was claiming to be a Macedonian, and eventually also claimed to be Greek. The same way Edomites claim to be Roman, the same way Israelites claim to be Roman, and all the other nations claim it as well. The same way you would claim to be an American, because all these are just false nationalities, okay? Not really false nationalities, but rather, a Gentile state of mind or Gentile um nationalities, okay? Your true nationality goes back to your bloodline through your fathers, and you can't run away from that nationality, because at the end of the day, when prophecy goes forth, when prophecy is delivered, That is the nationality that the Most High will use. So that through the Spirit, I give you Akim, you are quite edified. And I give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahwashai, Ba'asham, Racha, Kwadash, Wa Abad Babal, Shalom.